Hello, and thanks for joining us today. Today, I'm joined by my guest, Bradley Keyser from SMS Speedway. Hello, Bradley. How are you?
Hi, David. Very well, thanks. Enjoying the sunny weather today.
That's good. Yes, a rare bit of autumnal sunshine coming through now. Um, Bradley, it's very timely that we're talking this week because obviously one of the bigger news stories of the week was that we have a massive communication outage all of a sudden when it came to the mediums of both Facebook and WhatsApp. And I don't know if this is particularly interesting to you, but what was interesting to me was I got text messages from my kids to ask if there was something wrong with the data plans on their phones. And when it turns out that Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp going down all on the same day, they couldn't cope with it. They thought that the world had come to an end. It's staggering how reliant we are on these really convenient sources of information and communication, but it also leaves us a little bit vulnerable as businesses if we are over reliant on them without a backup. And that is where I think you guys can come in.
Yeah, indeed. Well, David, it's funny how the children were the first to to tell me as well. There must be something in there, and it's quite staggering that something the size of Facebook's organization could have such a big outage. There's been quite a few people actually saying, "Oh, it's so nice. We can now get real-world vaccination advice from doctors rather than the nan's man who's in the van." But more seriously, it has affected a lot of people. The BBC was actually running a headline about how it might affect influencers as well and their business. Of course, a lot of people make a living from selling online and through social media, and it's very active in the property market, of course. A lot of companies, a lot of estate agencies putting their focus on the social media and on the direct communication. They use us a lot because we have a very wide communication, means we cover the WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, obviously text messaging, Signal, a whole lot of different platforms, including voice and audio as well. So, for example, we can deliver audio packages through dial-up and text to voice on people's landlines as well. So it was very serious. Within SMS Speedway, of course, we have this wide range of channels, including text messaging and Signal and Twitter direct messaging and all the rest of it. So even an outage the size of the Facebook outage, where you lost whole sections of communication, WhatsApp knocked out, Facebook Messenger knocked out, what our system will do is just use other means to get your messages out there. So your business doesn't lose a beat. We're just now using SMS, whereas we might have been having a conversation on WhatsApp, and our system will detect that and just automatically start using the other channels. So our clients never even saw the outage. In fact, quite a few were surprised when we said, actually, there seems to be a problem, and we're still waiting for Facebook to own up to it. And a bit of mad running around in the back end to say, oh, goodness, is it a problem that we've got? But again, we're not located in a single data center. We spread out geographically as well as across multiple suppliers, both for all of our servers and our telecoms and our power and all of those good things, as well as the delivery channels that we have in the background. So it was a good test for us. The previous one, very sadly, was when the 7/7 attacks happened in London. And again, that was the SMS services that went down and we had to use other ways of communication. But we do have that robustness in the system.
I think there's a very strong message in there. Obviously, the Facebook outage isn't tragic. The 7/7 events, those sort of world-changing events, those are very sad events, and they affect a great number of people. But if you look at the events of the last couple of years and dealing with the pandemic, I think life has taught us that we need to have a bit of disaster planning built into our businesses and into our systems, and that we can't now only just rely on one method of communication, that we need reliable backups. And I suppose with your service, I think an estate agency is going to be able to tick that box in terms of I'm ready for whatever life throws at me.
We do, and estate agents at the moment, there's a lot of adapting that the market has had to do over COVID with all the furloughs, the shutdowns. Then there's the staffing issues that they're currently reporting, and as if that wasn't enough, we had the stamp duty cut-off time, so we had huge demands in the upfront inquiries and not enough staff back to deal with it. You have to be very adaptable. Life's not just plain sailing. And again, that's where our service can help with things like automations, where if you have a flood of inquiries, well, we can automatically respond to those and we can adapt intelligently. We've got artificial intelligence systems that can actually engage with clients on your behalf, that can answer some queries, it can onboard people to a large degree if you need ID&V done, or you need to have document checking done for the last 3 bills or something like that, and you're looking for anti-fraud measures. We have anti-fraud capabilities. We've got face checking. In fact, the product's called Face Check, where someone can have, say, their driver's license, and it does a liveness check to make sure that that person is the same. We can get all of that neatly packaged up for you and ready without the agent actually having to tie up staff doing that. And then that allows you to use as an agent your staff for what humans are best at, which is the empathy, the engaging with people one-to-one, the direct communication, which obviously we can supply across, all the channels we operate in with the text messaging, but also, those phones, those video calls. Those are the things that humans do best, driving the sales, the sales and, the transactions through. And this background work, particularly in a rapidly changing environment, it gives some stability to your organization. You can cope, you can scale up very quickly when demands are there without having to have too much of an impact on your staff. You do need to be adaptable, you really do. It's a very, very chop and changey world at the moment.
It's interesting. I think one of the number one challenges of estate agents is that they have to wear so many different hats. You have to be a marketing expert, you have to be social media expert, you have to be a salesperson, you very often have to be a psychologist as well, and you'll have to be all of these different roles, and you're juggling quite a few hats that you have to wear. And I think that the PropTech solutions, or the solutions that are available to estate agents that are most helpful, are the ones that help free them up to do the stuff where nobody else can do that.
Yes.
That face-to-face stuff, that person-to-person stuff where AI can only go so far. It's absolutely superb. So why not let that take the strain of day-to-day administrative tasks, keeping agents focused on what they do best?
Absolutely. If you're going to dig a trench, you can pick up a shovel and dig it yourself, or you can get a JCB and dig it using a tool. Both use a human to do it, but one just amplifies that human capability up on a massive scale. And I think it's important to see this technology as doing that, to amplify your staff up and to make them more efficient and to get them able to do more using their intelligence, their experience, their empathy, the things that humans are good at. Also, just on this pandemic and the things that we were touching on previously, it's worth mentioning that some companies have used us quite efficiently in taking care of their staff at a personal level, asking, how are you, and contacting them. And we did an interesting piece of work with one of the county councils last year where they were trying to keep in contact with their staff to check their mental health and how they were coping with the changes, because it's stressful for everyone. And, we are in times that are rapidly changing. And what they discovered was through sending something like a text message to the phone, someone was able to answer a lot more honestly. And at first they thought, well, maybe it's because of expectations. If you're talking to a colleague on the phone, you don't want to say, oh, I'm feeling really terrible. We're in the Instagram world where we all try to present a false positivity of, about ourselves. But actually it was more interesting than that. It was because it's very private when you're just texting something in. Whereas if you're speaking on the phone, often if you're in a situation where you need help and you need to engage with your employer, you've got your family members around, which might be inconvenient, or you might be in a situation where you can't freely have that conversation. And the privacy of this direct private communication helps a lot. So it's worth keeping that, taking care of your staff and fostering your business in mind as well as we go through these changes, because
I think
everyone's
you're right.
dealing with it.
It's a whole other language, if you like. And we started this conversation talking about my kids, and to bring them back into the conversation again. If you ever try to communicate with anybody from that generation on text message, you'll understand that however much I think I try and keep it short, they can shorten even the shortest of words have an abbreviation. And they have text talk, which effectively allows them to communicate things, but very succinctly. It's not going to go into a great deal of detail. But you're right, because you have to be more economical with words sometimes, you get more to the point. You can't talk around the houses.
Exactly. But the medium is much wider than simply exchanging messages as well. For example, in SMS Speedway's system, you can send documentation, you can send images, you can send videos and walkthroughs of properties to someone's handset, but you can also request it. We have a product called Reach Out, which you can send to someone and say, hey, can you send me a photograph of your driver's license or of the leaky radiator or something like that? And that's instant to someone's pocket, and they respond, and it comes straight back to you as an organization. Now, the time and effort that saves, particularly when you build it into a workflow. So, if you're onboarding a new property or a new client, if you use those tools wisely, you can be sending, say, hey, welcome to Blue Square Properties. This is our guide as to what the next steps of tenancy will be, or this is our guide as to how to best sell your house. And you can automatically send that out. It's a great customer experience. Costs you nothing other than a piddly little text message or so, but in terms of the impact on your business and that sort of feeling of this company cares about me.
Let's face it, it's a very personal delivery as well, because like you say, it goes straight to your handset. And because of that, see, emails you can choose to ignore sometimes, but very few people leave a stack of text messages or WhatsApp messages unread. We're all curious, and we all want that notification needs to be cleared,
Absolutely.
And so in terms of delivery, it probably is. And I think it's being employed by, if you look in the wider world outside of a state agency, you call somebody like Sky or Vodafone, very often you'll get a message straight after the customer service call. How was that call? How did you rate us? Is there anything else we could do for you? And to me, that's great. It doesn't take up any time, and it's right there.
Yeah. So that sort of follow-up and automated follow-up is an ideal use case for us. We've got a very strong product offering around that. If anyone watching this wants to find out more about these automated messages, then do come and ask us, because we can honestly give you so much help in that area and give you that great customer service.
Getting feedback is something that estate agents have to do as part of their job.
Yeah.
But it is difficult to do. You're very often having to call people and bother them at work. If you can send them a text message that says, hey, you went to view a property yesterday, what did you think of it? And automate that process. Bradley can help you do that. It's going to save time. And you in doing so, I think you are delivering a service that isn't intrusive. I think the person gets to communicate with you on their terms. So it's great.
Absolutely. If you think about the value of communication, the more instant it is and direct to someone, obviously the greater the chance they'll read it. Now, text messaging and these other channels that we use, they have a 96% or more readership. Compare that to your average email, and in fairness, it depends on whether someone's expecting and looking for your email or not, but that's about 7%. So you're talking 97 versus 7%.
Yeah.
But also it's the time, that the delay with them reading it. It's no use getting the message to them. If you send an email, you've sent it now, but if they only read it 12 hours later and it's an appointment reminder for an appointment that's happening in 2 hours' time, well, it's too late. You've missed that, you know. Or if it's to a reminder to get a bid in on a house, or to meet a deadline, SDLT deadline. In fact, just yesterday, someone told me they missed it by 3 hours, and an entire deal collapsed because of it. You know, this is the difference between, it's these little use cases where businesses have either the advantage because they manage to get that in on time and get that sales progression happening, or perhaps they just missed something and they got gazumped, offer fell through, something else happened, you missed these deadlines. It's on those edge cases that's the difference between customers, frankly, that win and those who lag behind.
So in terms of communication processes, sometimes we're so busy communicating and advertising that we communicate on all different platforms. So we're racing around from one place to another, trying to get all these things cornered. But the sort of communication process and customer experience that really works best is one that has the least number of steps to get to whatever it is that the customer wants to get to. And very often we as agents stuck in the middle of our own businesses can't really see it from the outside. We only know what we have to deal with behind the scenes. But Bradley, you're able to come in, and your communication renovation service is able to sort of take a look at how we communicate and see where we can improve that.
That's right, David. Look, we were the first commercial text messaging company, and we've got over 2 decades in the industry, so we've built up a wealth of internal knowledge and case studies, and we've got to know the processes very well, and we're bringing that expertise and that knowledge for free to any agents who want us to have a look at their processes. There's no obligation to buy from us. It comes with no strings attached. We will just look at your processes with you, talk you through your business, and bring our experience and our knowledge, and have a look at where you might benefit from better communication, or perhaps improve things slightly, and bring in these little advantages, perhaps sometimes maybe big wins, to really improve your business and deliver value back. The focus is on return on investment. The focus is on value to you as a business. We're not trying to make a sale. Like I said, it comes with no strings attached and it's completely free, but we'll do that for Kerfuffle people.
Well, for any agents watching this, they're very much more than just text messages, as you can see. Give Bradley and his team a call and they'll be able to sort you out. They have not just one, but 2 fantastic offers that are available only on kerfuffle.com. So check out all of their details there. But anybody that's interested, reach out and communicate with the man. It's his business. He'll get back to you, right?
Thanks, David. Yes, indeed. And you mentioned 2 deals. We do the second one, no setup fees, only to Kerfuffle people, and 1,000 free text messages to get you going. So not only will we analyze things for you, but if you want to proceed, we'll throw in 1,000 free text messages so you can see if it works for you. No cost to you.
And just off the back of that, because I already know the answer to this, because I think I've been a previous customer of SMS Speedway in my previous life as an agent, but you guys very much play well with others in terms of integrating with sort of CRM systems and other bits of software that communicate. So and when the agents come to you, it's not merely that they're buying in bulk a certain amount of messages as they would have done years ago. They're coming to somebody that already understands the function of an estate agent, the type of software that we use, and what we're going to need.
Absolutely, David. Yes, we're very deeply integrated with virtually one of the leading CRMs, and we do understand both the technology, but that business process and the workflow. Not only are we integrated with the CRMs, but we're actually integrated with a wide range of other providers, many of whom are on Kerfuffle as well. And if I can mention a few names, for example,
sure,
if we have Dataloft, and obviously we integrated with Reapit, and other CRMs, and I won't go through the long list of integrations that we've got, but we can get market information to you. We can get training to you. We can get all sorts of other content over and above appointment reminders and ad hoc messaging and identity verification and all of that
It's
normal business.
It's content delivery, but with many different options that integrates really well with the agent's sort of systems and processes and helps speed that up. So I think it's invaluable. And I think this week has taught us that we can't afford to rely on only one form of communication. And if you need a backup, speak to Bradley. They'll come in and have a look at your communication process and let you know what you're doing right and where you can improve it as well. Thank you very much, Bradley.
Thanks, David. It's been great.
Pleasure.